Welcome back to the Ann's Homestead. Today's going to be a different video because we're not going to be doing a whole lot of work here on the homestead. Today is actually going to be day one of starting the vegetable farm out at the property. So we're going to head out to our garden here and I'm going to go through some updates that we've done. We've added fruit bushes, we've planted a lot of vegetable plants, also some flowers and things like that. So I just kind of want to walk through some updates of where our garden's at right now, and then I will cut to some footage of putting in the brassicas, and I did a box of broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage, and then also red cabbage. So I'll cut into some scenes of those. And then later in the video, we're gonna head out to the property and we're gonna start building the farm out there. And we're gonna be using the tractor and the plow and starting to build the beds for what eventually will be, hopefully, an entire vegetable farm. So this is the very front, or the southernmost or closest to our house section of the garden. Through here we have blueberry plants. These are actually the jumbo blueberry plants. Our nieces and nephews and godkids, they like the big, sweet, and of course most expensive blueberry that you can buy at the store. So we decided, you know what, we are just going to grow these. Next is our blackberries. So this is the first blackberry bush that I've ever grown. And Scooper had them growing up as a child. So this thing has taken over, and you can see how it's literally from like right here. This entire actually 16-foot cow panel, now that I'm looking at it. So I'm very excited to see how many blackberries we're actually going to get off of this year. Then moving down, we have a golden raspberry bush. This is new this year. These three right here are all golden raspberries. This is, it looks just like a red raspberry, but it's gold. And they're more of a sweeter raspberry, where sometimes a red raspberry can be sour. These right here, these three are red raspberries. So like I said, this entire front row of the garden, the southernmost row, is entirely fruit berry row. These last two bushes, and that is actually a runoff of one of these two bushes, but these are elderberry. So we have elderberry, red raspberry, golden raspberry, blackberry, and then blueberry at the end. Now we are into more of the vegetable side of the garden. This row is not anything yet. What this is going to be, last year it was all of our squashes, zucchinis, summer squash and winter squash. That's what was here. Since we did that there last year, we're not going to put that here. That's actually going to move to this row, and that's why it's all covered up. Compost has been added, and it's covered so that it doesn't grow thistle. Nothing is with this row because this is actually going to be peanuts this year. We tried peanuts probably 10 years ago, and not any success. We've done our research, we're gonna go at it again, and the reason we are growing peanuts in that row is because peanuts are a natural nitrogen fixer. So we're gonna fill that row with peanuts. We are also gonna be very careful because we do have a godson that has a stage 4 peanut allergy, so we're gonna keep him away from that. He basically just can't eat them or touch them. So as long as they're in the ground and peanuts grow under the ground, he can touch the plant, the foliage, he can do all of that stuff. He just literally can't touch the peanut when it comes to harvest time. So we're gonna try that out. And so this row here fits as standing in the peanut row. We will start that in it has to have 120 days of hot summer weather. So we're probably not going to start peanuts until we get into May, where it's consistently hot, and we're definitely past our last frost date, which I do believe this year is April 27th. So, excuse me. So moving through the garden, this is going to be our pole beans here. And also here is going to be our pole beans and cucumbers. Throughout here last year we did our beans. And then we had eggplant through here. We are gonna do eggplant. Eggplant's just gonna move over into here. And we are also this year doing a different type of bean. It's called a Japanese yard-long bean. They're not quite a yard long, but they literally are probably 18 to 24 inches long, and they look just like a slender string bean, but again, almost 2 feet long. And you can just chop them up any size you want. If you want to chop them up like a little can size, you can, or if you want like a longer 4 to 6 inch string bean, you can. You can do whatever you want with them, but they look so good. We watch a lot of people on YouTube that cook with these, so we're like, you know what, I am all about this. Plus, I think it would be really cool to walk down this aisle right here and have all of these beans just hanging like the spaghetti when you go through the car wash. So this is an update to the clip that I'm gonna flash into right now. I will show you me planting these, and this is the cabbage plants, and you can see they're coming along really well. Nice strong leaves, good strong plants. And so the peas that you see throughout here, this is a winter pea, and we put them in here just as a nitrogen fixer, and also because they'll choke out any thistles. We've been having a thistle issue this year. The dirt that we got last season had to have had thistle seed in it, because every place that we put that dirt, we have thistles that we're fighting with. So hopefully we won't ever have to deal with that again, because we have our own compost that we're working with. But that's just, you know, something that you have to deal with, is sometimes it's not as clean when you don't know absolutely 100% of what's going into your dirt. That whole box is dedicated to onions.
Right, do you care how I plant them?
Nope, I don't. This is an update to our garlic bed. Probably not the best yield that we've ever had on garlic. It also spills over into another bed. But I planted this really late, and we got really busy in the fall. And I planted it really late, and the seeds didn't look really good. So I'm just satisfied if we get any garlic. So it looks like we'll probably have like 20 to 30 cloves of garlic, which honestly is plenty of garlic for us. But this is our garlic bed, and then we are in the first raised box of the garden. Back here we haven't done anything yet with the container section. I like to wait and save this for overflow of crops that we seeded and don't have space to put over here into the garden. We will put right here into the containers. We also use these larger containers for potatoes, and we are not growing potatoes, regular potatoes, in these this year. So I'm gonna save these, and then we have about 6 more in the garage for our sweet potatoes. So that's what's gonna go here, and that won't probably be until the end of June, 1st of July is when we get our sweet potato slips. Right here is our strawberry patch. You can see we're already getting some pretty good blooms on the strawberries. This eventually will just take over and be an entire strawberry patch. This big plant right here is comfrey, and comfrey naturally is another nitrogen fixer, and it pushes all sorts of nutrients into the box that just makes everything that we plant in here flourish. And then right back here is extra onions that we had, and I just planted these this past weekend. So those have only been in the ground for about 4 or 5 days. And this is our mint box. If you've ever grown mint, caution, it will take over your entire bed. But boy, does it smell good. So we're either going to leave this as a mint bed and just let it go, or we're going to burn it out so that we can use this box again. But that right now is 100% mint and spearmint. Now moving to this low box. This is arugula that we started from seed, and that was on 3/27. So we're about 3 weeks from that, a little over 3 weeks. So that's arugula or rocket. And then this is the ones that we started from seed indoors so that we could get a head start. So this is about, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks ahead of this, and this was just a direct seed right into the ground. And then we have them spaced out down the box. So that'll be a good succession planting of arugula. And then also I planted our orange clementine cauliflower in this box and broccoli. So this row right here is broccoli, and then the far row, that is our orange cauliflower. I absolutely love cauliflower. It's a huge staple in my diet. So we tend to grow a lot of cauliflower. Plus, with cauli, you plant one plant, you get one head of cauliflower. It's not like broccoli where you can plant one plant of broccoli and then you'll have offshoots and can eat broccoli on that plant several times. Cauliflower, one plant, one head. So we tend to plant a lot of it. I do believe we have about 40 to 50 different plants of cauliflower, and we have white, purple, the green Romanesco, and lots of orange because that's my favorite. So, cauliflower, days. Update on the peas. They are sitting at probably about 6 to 8 inches tall and looking great. Doesn't look like we have really hardly any holes in the plantings. So that is the pea box. There is nothing else in this section of the box. I'll have to look at our garden plan to see what's going in there. This right here is leftover onions from last year. So we will just use these as salad onions, and we could go ahead and pull, like this one's done, but I'll let them get just a touch bigger. And then we planted kohlrabi. So this little guy right here is a kohlrabi plant, and that is the purple kohlrabi. And it looks like of all of our kohlrabi, of the purple, that's the only one that germinated. Over here, next to it, we have the regular white kohlrabi. Now that germinated a lot better than the purple. You know, we see a little guy right there. So gonna have to come through and replant this purple since this is the only one that showed up. Yep, for sure. Then the next one is just another white kohlrabi. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but it looks like we could fill in some areas here. So that'll make room for a good succession plant. The next is our red Russian kale. This we started from seed inside, and I just put that in the ground on the 14th. Then here starts tons and tons of broccoli. So these are broccoli plants that we started indoors, and we started those in February. This is also more broccoli. And then this is a different kind of broccoli called Monty broccoli. And then we have onions from last year. This is Monty, and then these go to emerald broccoli. And then finally our final broccoli. So in this bed right here, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 broccoli plants. So that's super exciting. If we can get all of those to germinate and then offshoot, we will have broccoli for days, just like our cauliflower. So this is some leftover garlic in here. So these big tall greens our leftover garlic, and then we have put little onions. Of the onions that we ordered, I separate them from a big onion to a little onion. And the little onion, we hope that they bulb, but if they don't bulb, we'll just use them as salad onions. And then the big onions, I'll show you, are right behind me in a whole box of onions. So those we keep and let them grow big to have nice bulbed onions. The onions that we're using this year are a yellow candy and a red candy onion. We are not doing a white onion. We tend to have better success with the yellow and the reds, and then honestly, primarily that's mostly what we eat. So trying to focus on growing exactly what we eat and not letting anything go to waste. You can see this is our garlic here, and then we've planted onions throughout here, and then more onions. This is now our beets. This is a red beet. It looks like we have really good germination rate on our red beet. Not very good on our boulder beet. That is literally our only golden boulder beet. So I will need to succession plant on the top and the bottom of it. Then some onions that we started from seed, we've just put throughout our garden. You can see those. Onions help deter a lot of rodents because they can't stand the smell of them. And then this is also more beets through here. And then this is also more red beets. Then from this side of the box on is, you guessed it, cauliflower. So this is our cheddar cauliflower. We have a cheddar cauliflower and an orange clementine cauliflower. I've only had the cheddar cauliflower, so I'm really excited to try that one. This next row, that far one, and then this row is the purple moon cauliflower. And then this is white cauliflower through here. So just in this box, we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 heads of cauliflower in with our beets, onions, garlic, and then bulbed onions. So behind the garlic and beets and cauliflower bed is our onion on a low box. We usually always put onions on a low box, and quite frankly, I'm not sure why, because I always say, let's put everything that we don't have to bend over and absolutely kill our backs pulling, put them up in a raised bed. What do? Every single year, I put the onions down in a low box so that we can bend over all season long and pull onions. Can't teach an old dog new tricks, I guess. Anyways, this is our onions. So we have seeded onions down through the middle. And then we have the ordered onions that we get in sets. I like to get them a little longer. So the seeded onions are ours. We started those the first of the year. Onions take a long time to grow. And then the ones that we ordered are, again, the red candy and the yellow candy onions. So I'm gonna turn you around and kind of walk you down through there so you can really see the difference between our seeded onions, which are little and compact, and then the individual ordered onions, and you'll also notice that they're bigger than the ones that we have over in the box. So you see our ordered onions are on ordered onions. These are our seeded onions, and then the ordered onions. So you can see the real difference. These are much smaller, kind of look more tender, and these are bigger. And this is just one onion, where this is like 8 onions. So the seeded onions are gonna take a little bit longer. The ordered onions should be done sooner, but that will also be good for not having all of your onions done at exactly the same time. Also mixed in with this onion box, you'll see that we have carrots. So our carrots are starting to come in, and we planted these on 3-4. Carrots are a slow grower. They take a long time to germinate out of the ground, and then they take a long time to be ready. So these will actually not be ready to eat or pull out of the garden until probably August. They do not take, they take nearly the whole season. This set right here, we did it in thirds. It's 4 different, or quarters, excuse me. We did it in quarters, and it's 4 different types of carrots. This one germinated, I would say, the worst. So we went through today. Today is April 18th, and reseeded this section, because you can see this section as well seeded quite successfully. And so we have our onions, our seed onions, ordered onions, and again, these are red candy and yellow candy onion. Another big thing that I probably do not talk about enough is our fruit trees. So this line, we've lined our property, both sides of our back lot, with fruit trees. And this one here is a Montmorency cherry tree. We planted this in the very first season, so this is a 3-year-old tree. We have picked cherries off this, probably only about 3 or 4 ounces of cherries, but we have been getting a little bit of fruit off of it. This is the most blooms that we've seen on the tree yet. So we have these furthest 2 trees are a tart cherry, a Montmorency cherry. And the reason that we picked that type of cherry is because my grandma and a few of my aunts grew cherries, and cherry pie is a big thing in my family. And so they always used a tart Montmorency cherry. So I was like, you know what? To my grandma, I'm gonna have that type of cherry as well. So that's our first set of tree. Next is our pear trees. So this is a Bartlett pear, and this is year number 2 for this tree. If you go back through our videos, one of our first videos of last season, you'll see us actually digging the holes and planting these trees. So we have 2 different pears. This is a Bartlett, and I do believe this next one is an Anjou pear. Yep, it is Anjou, whatever it is, Anjou pear tree. So these are nice and green. Again, this is year 2. The bees are swarming it, so I'll stop shaking it for them. And then the last 2 trees on this side of our lot are peach trees. I'm really excited about growing peaches. Peaches, pears, apples, cherries, plums. Those are our favorite fruits. So we were like, let's line our house with them. So that's what we did. This last tree is another peach tree. It's probably double the size as that first one, but this again is year number 2 for our pears and our peaches. So I'm gonna head over to the other side of the property, and then we'll go through our plum trees, and then we have 3 different types of apple trees. So this is our plum tree. This is year 2 for this tree. It is probably about, say, 5 feet tall. It is much bigger than this one. We had a little catastrophe with that tree. So that we actually just planted yesterday. So this is year 2 for the plum tree. And then this one next to us, this is in its first year for that plum tree. This is our apple row. Through here we have 6 different types of apples. I like to bake apple pies when it comes to holiday season. So when we were kind of planning this whole garden, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna grow the apples that I like to put in my pies. So we have 2 Honeycrisp trees, 2 Granny Smith trees, and 2 Gala apple trees. And apples need basically a friend, a pollinator friend. So that's why we picked those 3, not just about the pies, but they also cross-pollinated with each other well. So the pears, the peaches, the cherries, and also the plums, they do not need a pollinating friend or a different type of that same fruit to pollinate. They say you can have 1 cherry tree, excuse me, and it will grow cherries. But if you have 2, it will help pollinate each other, and so you'll get more cherries, which makes more sense. I guess makes sense anyways, because the more trees, the more cherries, but whatever. Anyways, so with apples, that's why we had to do different kinds. Because I like to make pies, and because they need a pollinator. So these, you can see, probably are at about 7 feet tall. This is year 2 for all of these trees throughout here, and we have lots of blooms on them, so we're really excited, hoping that we see apples. We have not harvested any fruit off of any of our trees except for our cherry trees over in the corner. So this is, we bought this plant at a 3-year-old plant. So this is technically its 5th year of age, 2 at our place. So hopefully these should be fruiting. By statistics, that we should be getting fruit on all of our trees this year. So that's pretty exciting. Let's go down and I will just show you what the trees are looking like. But I'm really excited to see what they're gonna look like in 3-5 years when they're lining our property and they're big and just kind of creating like a little privacy and kind of closing us in. So that's pretty much where our garden sits at today. This weekend we have left the weekend open, or at least Saturday. I plan to seed start our summer crops, meaning watermelon, cantaloupe, our different types of cucumbers, and then all of our squashes. The summer squashes, the acorn squashes, the winter squashes, butternut squashes, honey nut squashes, you get my drift. We have started making all of our dogs food, and they eat a lot of squash and spinach. So we are going to seed more than we usually do on all of our squashes so that we can make it through the winter and making their food and not having to purchase anything. So we're done here. Next, let's go out to the new farm and let's build some beds. Okay, welcome back. Now we are out at what we're gonna call this the farm right now. We have all of our little toys out. We're gonna start building, we're gonna build 4 beds. We're gonna do 3 to 4 feet wide, and each bed's going to be 50 feet long with about a 4 to 5 foot walking space going right down the middle. That way when we do get fully operational, it'll be real easy to run drip line and water to those, and we can just have a main water line coming in, across the bed, and then have it going right down the walkway, and then drip tape fingering off for each line. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get everything out of the way, get everything measured up, and start tilling some beds. Each row is, the tiller's about 3.5 to 4 feet wide. Each row is 25-foot beds, then a 5-foot walking space, and then a 25 beds. So we have 4 25 feet long beds here. We're all done for the night. It is about 7:30, so we're gonna put a wrap on this one. But we've done an update of the garden. We've tilled 4 planting spaces for us out at the farm. This is going to be peanuts. Like I said earlier, this used to be a cow pasture, so we're hoping for really fertile ground. And then with putting peanuts in it, it will be a nitrogen fixer. So this is where we're gonna end the video. I'm Ness. Thanks for watching the Ann's Homestead. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.